The Republican presidential race has moved here, New York, where the next contest takes place on April 19th. Trump holds a commanding lead in his home state. A new poll shows him at 52%, Kasich in second place, and Cruz in third at 17%. Cruz did not get a warm reception from some in the Big Apple. Take a look.
Ted Cruz has no business being in the Bronx. This is an immigrant community. We deal with climate change every single day. And he wants to say that it doesn't exist. We're one of the poorest congressional districts in the country. And to receive this right-wing bigot is an insult.
And Trump piled on by firing up a crowd of supporters against his rival.
You know, Lion Ted Cruz came today. He couldn't draw 100 people. Do you remember during the debate when he started lecturing me on New York values like we're no good? Like we're no good. He is Lion Ted. You know, I came up with the idea, but you have to spell it right. It's L-Y-I-N apostrophe, Lion Ted. The Bible held high. He puts it down and then he lies.
Cruz got a chance to defend his New York values remark to New Yorkers themselves yesterday.
Let's be clear. The people of New York know exactly what those values are. They're the values of liberal Democratic politicians like Andrew Cuomo, like Anthony Weiner, like Eliot Spitzer, like Charlie Rangel, all of whom Donald Trump has supported, given tens of thousands of dollars throughout the years.
All right, here we go, Greg. What do you think about the protester of Ted Cruz?
What do you expect? Ted Cruz going to the Bronx is like Bill Ayers going to the VFW. It's just bound to happen. I don't think he had any plans that this was going to be a big group hug. By the way, by New York standards, that was pretty mild. He didn't get stabbed. He wasn't pushed in front of a subway, which is par for the course in Bill de Blasio's New York City. As for Trump being up, he better be up. He's not just from New York City. He kind of is New York City. I mean, he's up there with the Statue of Liberty, the Rockettes, and public urination.
New York's time to shine. So the campaign circus left Wisconsin, Kimberly. Now it's going to focus on New York for the next 10 days.
And I'll tell you, Trump's looking pretty high energy from the likes of it. He's now kind of like a rapper, too. It was pretty interesting. But he's back with his people. He's in his element. He's feeling comfortable and confident. He's enjoying a very good lead here, but not taking it for granted because he did cancel, to reschedule the California trip, which is smart, because you got to shore this up before you worry about that next.
I don't think I don't think, Eric, he has much to worry about in New York, though.
So when we looked at the map and then we saw what happened in Wisconsin, where Trump didn't perform as well as he wanted to, people were calling that a loss. I thought, wow, 2 weeks of thinking about Wisconsin, but boy, did that change in a hurry with that rally that he had at Bethpage. Something interesting he said too, also in that rally at Bethpage. Bethpage it's Long Island. It's known for one of the best golf courses in the world, Bethpage. Yeah. But the most important part is he says he played. He's warming up the audience, and I think Kilmeade was there at the time. He was warming them up a little bit, and he talked about playing Bethpage. But Bethpage is a public golf course. He was becoming one of them. He's like, everyone in the crowd, all the men in the crowd, yeah, I get that. Waiting 3 o'clock in the morning, hope you get a tee time at Bethpage. I think now this is going to play to his strength now, to spend 14 days. I think he's kind of forgotten about Wisconsin. He's going to focus in on this. I came to New York 30 years ago. I'm a Midwesterner. I have Midwestern values. I believe in everything about the Midwest. When 9/11 happened, I don't know, I somehow I turned into some sort of a hybrid New Yorker, Midwesterner. I think this New York values comment that Ted Cruz loved and was great for him in that debate is going to really, really stick it to him now.
Though I think that he was giving some pretty effective context. I agree. Bad soundbite. Great soundbite for Iowa. Terrible soundbite for when you're coming to New York. But when he's explaining about the situation, when the young man's talking about the terrible conditions in the Bronx, like there's a consequence to liberal governance in your cities. That's not Donald Trump's fault, but that is the case. Juan, if you're a Republican and you live in Manhattan or in these congressional districts because of being proportional, you have, like, you're like worth 10,000 votes in Iowa, but just that one person because of the way that they deal with the voting in the end.
Yeah, look, I think that Donald Trump's going to do great in New York. I don't see any problem for him. It's interesting, though, I mean, Ed Goaz, who we both know, Republican strategist, he thought this 2-week period, if you had a situation where Cruz did well in Wisconsin, could change the direction, the dynamics of the campaign, because the GOP establishment is still trying to stop Donald Trump. But what we've seen so far is it doesn't look like it. I don't see it, but I don't know. I don't know what the advertising budget's like. I don't know what the super PACs are going to be doing. What I can say, though, is I noticed Donald Trump kind of behind the scenes trying to build more of an infrastructure to his campaign, not only in terms of what comes next, which is all up and along the East Coast, and working in the states and working against the Republican establishment in those states, but he's also got to now chase those undedicated delegates. And I think for the first time he realizes this is a serious game, because what goes on at an open convention is way above his head. He's never been. He thinks he's a tough guy from New York. Watch backstabbing. Check it out. We just passed the Ides of March, but baby, you better watch your back.
You know what might be the best strategy for Ted Cruz
I don't know what's
right
happening
now?
to Juan.
It might be the best idea for Ted to forget New York.
New York.
Yeah, just give it up and say, look, it's not going to be a win. I'm not, I probably haven't, maybe you keep Trump under 50%, which would help a little bit, but his time may be better spent in the following week, the April 26th week, where you have the big ones. You have Pennsylvania, you have a couple of other big states, 172 delegates that following week. Maybe spending time there, and just Kasich has employed that strategy too. Remember, he said, I'm not going to do well in Iowa, I'm going right to New Hampshire.
New England. Donald Trump did talk about what you were just mentioning about Wisconsin. Let's take a look at his, talking to Brian Kilmeade about his strategy about the convention and how many delegates, if he doesn't get there, what his plan is.
I wasn't expected to win Wisconsin, and I think we did very well. I got 36 or so in terms of a percentage, 36%. We picked up some delegates. I was pretty happy.
Ted Cruz makes a speech and says it's a turning point. Do you believe it's a turning point?
No, I don't think it's a turning point. I mean, I'm hundreds of delegates up on Ted, and I think we're going to do really well.
I know you have a plan for the convention, to get to the convention and get 12, 1, 2, 3, 7. Do you have a plan if you don't?
I do. I have a very strong plan.
He's got a strong plan. It's going to be a good plan. One thing, though, I saw today that they decided not to go to Colorado, and Colorado is deciding on electing its delegates this weekend. Not that many delegates there, but still decided not to go.
Well, I think when that excellent interview of Brian Kilmeade.
Yes, he's great.
You should be in Fox.
He works a lot, huh?
When he asked about a turning point, it would have been a good. I think that it is a turning point, but it isn't for Cruz. It should be a turning point for Trump to figure out what happened. It's right now. It's important for the delegate count, but what about the long-term, big picture, which you alluded to? Being thrilled that you're way up in New York over Cruz, it's like jumping out of a window and enjoying the trip down, because at the bottom is Hillary and she's up by 10, and you got to, and that might change because these polls are so early. But he's got to start thinking about. It's not a comforting thought just to get the nomination if you're going to get shellacked. For at least for conservatives like me, it's not comforting. I want somebody electable.
Well, and I do think that they're smart. I guess that yesterday the Trump campaign, Kimberly, was meeting and trying to figure out where to go. And then this announcement today that they're not going to go to California yet. They're going to wait on that. But polling out today, the AP showing 7 in 10 Americans unfavorable. In Virginia, a must-win state for Republicans, also looking troubling. Even Mississippi and Texas looking like they're in play, with Hillary Clinton possibly winning those normally red states.
Yeah, so it is important, too, to look at it from a macro level to see, hey, let's talk about the general election. Let's talk about the electoral map, where you need to perform, that, you know, no matter what states, that you have to be able to win in order to get the White House and the presidency. Sure. However, but like in any great race, you've got to make the playoffs before you can be in the World Series. So you've got to focus on the task at hand. And a lot can happen during an election process. And depending whether or not people coalesce and get behind whoever the eventual nominee is, then you deal with that. Then super PAC money comes in, advertising, and you never know, on the other side, perhaps an indictment.
One thing it's not is boring.